Hi, I'm Robin Blacksmith, Safety, Security, and Emergency Management Director at Shoreline Community College. And the training that we're doing today is an overview of the typical types of hazards that we would most likely experience on our campus. The governor of our state has issued a directive to ensure that we are all prepared to respond to an emergency or disaster at Shoreline Community College. OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, also requires that employees are aware of key elements for emergency preparedness and how to respond to any potential emergencies that we might have at our work site. First, we'll discuss the most relevant hazards that we're most likely to have here in the Shoreline area and on our campus. Those that you see highlighted in red are the most common sorts of emergencies or hazards that we might experience. Now, that doesn't mean that we may not have other types of hazards. We could have a tornado, or we could have an emergency like a train derailment. But the ones that are listed here are the most likely to occur. So we have a long fault line in the ocean out here off of Washington known as the Cascadia Subduction Zone. It runs along the coastline from North Vancouver Island in Canada to Northern California. It's predicted that we are going to have a very large earthquake in our region due to the movement of the oceanic plates in this region. So an earthquake in our area is something that we definitely need to be prepared for, as well as fire that you see in red, and of course severe weather for this area. The other incidents that you see, we will touch upon and go through some of these. At times I'll go through some of them quickly, and other times I'll take more time to explain each of those in depth. So at Shoreline Community College, we operate under the principles of the Incident Command System, or ICS for short. All colleges and emergency responders across the country have adapted the same FEMA trainings and programs to this, and we all go under the Incident Command System. After 9/11, in New York City, the federal government established the National Incident Management System, or NIMS for short. So many different agencies descended upon Ground Zero to help, and they all had different jargon and communication styles, like their own way of talking like you do in your field. But it was very confusing and communication broke down. So the Incident Command System basically structures and organizes everyone to speak the same language. And it's now being used across the entire US, including all of the colleges. It's important that you know about ICS because the first person on the scene of an emergency is the incident commander. So I'm sure you're surprised to know that you might be the incident commander. If a coworker would have a seizure and falls down, you are actually the IC on that scene until someone else comes along that's more qualified to address the emergency. The IC position and responsibility does not go by your normal title or rank of your normal daily job, but it goes by who's most qualified to address the emergency incident at the time. At SCC, we've been actively working to establish a team of leaders that plan and train for these emergencies, as well as we've established an emergency operations center in the 1000 building. So in the event of a significant disaster or emergency, we would have a pre-planned place that we will meet. In many cases, the IC will be the person near the top of the organization. So take, for example, if we had a severe storm incident. If the college had to close due to a storm, it would likely be the president or her designee to make that final determination. We also have a policy team, and the policy team helps advise the incident commander before and during a major incident. Our policy team is largely made up of the executive leadership team and a few other key advisors. So this is a very simple diagram of how our command chart might look under the ICS structure. In a major disaster or emergency, each of these boxes actually breaks out further and further as emergency responders come to the scene. So the system is very flexible. It can be contracted or expanded to an emergency as required. if you think of, in this area, the Oso incident, we had a major landslide. And as more and more responders from around the state and the country responded to Oso, this chart grew very, very large. So on a daily basis, we handle emergencies that are very small, and we don't need to expand the chart. But it gives you an idea of how the command structure looks. You can take the ICS course online through FEMA, and we have a link on the Emergency Preparedness website that takes you right to Incident Command Systems 100 HE. So that's the basic entry-level course, and HE, of course, stands for higher education. The course takes about 2 to 3 hours, and at the end of it, you earn a certificate.